get it done against the Miami Heat. 121-97 is your final. Welcome to Raptors Tonight, live from Real Sports. I'm Randy Urban, joined by Sherman Hamilton, Alvin Williams, and Jevohn Shepherd. Fellas, let's get into it. Obviously, the news of the day was Pascal Siakam being traded to the Indiana Pacers for 3 first-round draft picks, Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora, and then coming over from the Pelicans was Kira Lewis Jr. Al, I'll start with you. Just when you think about Pascal's time as a rapper, or as a Raptor.
I gotta say, he's spitting bars now. He got lyrics.
What stands out to you?
I think his improvement over the years, him being, someone that I didn't know about him coming in, but that doesn't mean much because I didn't follow college that much. But just the type of player he became, how he learned, how you can just tell he worked on his game. And just talking to Kyle a lot, Kyle used to tell me how hard he worked, so I've always appreciated that. And then you start seeing him mature into the go-to guy, an all-star, an all-NBA player. So I just saw his improvement. You hear a lot about the development of the Raptors and the staff, but you got to give him the credit because he put the work in. Yeah. So I just watched his evolution of a basketball player.
Jevohn, do you have a memorable moment? Or?
I just think, to Al's point, just seeing him over the course of his career, his development, right? He was drafted late, a 27th pick out of New Mexico State. None of us were watching New Mexico State, so nobody knew anything about Pascal. He wins, and his winning started with the Raptors in 905, right? Winning a G League championship there, most improved player, growing into an all-star, his development into an all-star. So I just think, you credit him, his development, but outside of basketball, just the person he is, right? He's always made time for, kids when he's going after his pregame workout, going to the locker room. He'll be the first to stop and go sign a couple autographs, and always has a smile on his face. And over the last couple of years, he's taken a lot of criticism, but that never affected his professionalism. So I always tip my hat to that. And I think we're all gonna miss, if you've had a chance to watch him work out pregame, just see him go through his soccer skills. Yeah. Keeping the ball up and just having fun. Because you can't do it.
I know,
you can't do it.
I know I can't, but I'm not going to miss it. But you said I'm not going to miss that.
It was fun. It became a sight to see. Everybody pulled out their camera. I can't keep the ball up, so I enjoyed it.
I can keep it up a lot. I can keep it up a lot.
God.
One of the things that sticks out to me.
This guy, man. This guy.
I can do a lot of keep-ups.
I
can.
I didn't know you could play.
Hundreds of them.
One of the things that sticks out to me when I think about Pascal Siakam, Sherm, is the play, the layup, the bucket, the crucial bucket he made in the finals. Little step around, score.
Draymond too.
Yeah. It really sticks out as a Pascal moment here.
Yeah, you think about the first game of that finals where he dropped 32. I mean,
right.
He was phenomenal.
Right.
But
that was before Draymond was saying, he's not good.
But I'll say this. I was in New York when he got selected to his first All-Star game, and we were at the NBA store. And he had some of his family with him, but you could see how happy he was. It was something that he worked towards, and the cameras weren't on him at the time. You just felt that feeling of, I finally did it. And when you look at Pascal's journey, I mean, he started playing basketball when he was 16, 17 years old. And you look at him now, is he 29, I think? 27, 29? That's a huge 10-year span, 10, 12-year span. You think about, Jevohn mentioned his G League accomplishments, and coming to the NBA and doing what he's doing, and winning a championship. And people forget when he came to the NBA, his rookie season, he started for almost half his rookie season.
Yeah.
And that just accelerated his growth.
Yeah. First game he ever played, started live. Yeah.
And Pascal was a guy who wasn't able to shoot the ball when he got to the league. He was a runner. He got up and down. He out-hustled people. He had natural rebounding ability coming into the league. But now we see him as a guy who can shoot the ball, a guy who can put the ball on the floor. And every summer he came back with something in his game. He figured out how to get stronger. He figured out how to use the left side of his body. When people put essential parts in their game consistently over their career, that's a testament to their work ethic and their determination to be the best basketball player they can be. So I have a lot of respect for him. And to the point about Pascal kind of fighting through some stuff, remember in the bubble, there was some horrible things said about Pascal. Some borderline racist things said about Pascal. He just went to work. This season, does he fit into the offense? His three-point shot isn't working. Can he play alongside Scotty? He just went to work, just kept on working at it. And before this happened, he was playing his best basketball of the season. So I just have a lot of respect for a guy who's gone through what he's gone through, has become the player he's become, the person he is, and he's left a real good legacy as a Raptor.
So let's get into a little bit the guys that are coming back. We'll start with Bruce Brown. Al, what do you make of his game, and what kind of impact can he have with this team?
I like him. I like he's a glue guy. He's a tough-nosed guy. You think of like a PJ Tucker, but better offensively. Not as strong defensively, but when you talk about the players that you don't have to call a play for, they'll succeed in their role. So he's somebody that's improved his game as well. Outside shooting Brooklyn Nets, when he was in Brooklyn a few years back, he was just a rebounder, run around, defensive guy. Then last year with the Nuggets, he was a three-point threat. So he was somebody that continues to improve his game. So he's somebody that can make your team that much better from his tenacity and his ability.
Really just burst onto the scene in Brooklyn, just getting offensive rebounds, chasing down balls, and then, Denver wanted to re-sign him. Obviously, they couldn't.
It's like when you have a guy like that does all the intangibles and just accepts that, you have to kind of tip your hat to him and give him his flowers as well. When you look at what he did in Brooklyn, he was just a screener. He was essentially playing a four-man, just running, setting screens for KD, setting screens for Kyrie, rolling to the basket, rebounding, and he was okay with that role. Then you fast forward, he wins a championship with Denver, so he still has that championship pedigree. He understands how to play with, superstar type players, type talent, and finds a way to assimilate in the team. So I think with this group here, you pair him with Scotty, you pair him with RJ, you pair him with IQ, and he brings something to that locker room without this big personality, this big character. So there's definitely a tremendous amount of value.
Yeah, and a guy that's won. Sherm, what is your take on Jordan Nwora and Kira Lewis Jr.?
I remember Jordan Nwora in Milwaukee, and I thought that he showed a lot of good flashes.
Especially against the Raptors.
He played well. I mean, he showed great athleticism. He showed the ability to make plays. So, you hope that he can bring that with him and continue to develop. He's still a young player in the league. So there's opportunity for him on a team that is geared towards giving young players opportunities. So I just think when people come to the Raptors, they see a chance to actually do what they can do. They feel like they're going to be given the opportunity to actually show how much they can play.
Right.
And to me, that's an uplifting experience. If you've bounced place to place and you just really haven't felt like you got an opportunity to really put everything on display, you come to Toronto and you see the way they play, you're going to get a chance.
Yeah.
I think that's got to feel good for a young player.
Are there a lot of guys that you think that they just haven't got the opportunity? Like, are there a lot of guys in the league that, everybody that's in this league is super talented.
Yeah.
They're either a top scorer or amazing at something coming in. But not everybody plays.
Right.
So do you see that there's a lot of guys kind of at the end of benches that aren't getting opportunities? Is opportunity the only thing that holds some of these guys back?
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of guys that can play that they can't crack the lineup. They can't, and the NBA and pro sports, I guess, as a whole, that's not the place you're going to get your minutes in practice. I don't care how hard you practice, how well you do in practice. Guys that are getting the big checks and they don't have to practice. They're ready to play. So it's hard to actually get that opportunity, and that's the challenge, because you never know when it's going to come, and you have to be ready.
Right.
Because you may never get it again. But the one luxury you do have is when you do get that opportunity, you're auditioning for the other 29 teams.
Right.
So you give yourself a chance, whether it's in warm-ups, whether it's whatever. People are always watching you. They know who you are. They know you can play.
Yeah.
But you just don't get that opportunity, and that's the most discouraging thing for a player, because again, you don't know when it's going to come.
Yeah. And Kira Lewis had an opportunity last season or the season before, kind of burst on the scene too. He had some good games for the Pelicans, and then injuries and getting behind some of the other guys. What are your thoughts on him, Jevohn?
That's the thing there. You just always have to be ready for your opportunity, and basketball is situational, right? You walk into another team, or there's an injury in front of you, you have to be ready for those moments. And I liken it to, you look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? Playing Clippers, gets traded to OKC, and all of a sudden now you have a star. You look at Jalen Brunson. He goes over to New York, and he's flourishing. Even, Paul George in Indiana, new opportunity presented this star of a player. And that came from injury. So in a case like this, where you're having a player coming to a new team, it's refreshing, new system. There's opportunity here because it's a younger group. You're obviously retooling, redeveloping, and building. So now guys are going to have the opportunity to play through mistakes, right? And just get a flow to their game and just come in with confidence because there's no pressure to win right now. So that's, for young players coming in, seeking new opportunity, your sole responsibility right now is be prepared for it, right? Put into work.
Right,
And the pressure really comes on management as well. When you have so many young guys, same position, you really have to evaluate and see, all right, who are we going to ride with and what decision are we going to have to make? Because now you have a lot of young guys coming in the fold, right? You have your three core guys that you're going to move forward with. But then what about the other guys that fill out the roster? Who are you going to keep and how are you going to evaluate them?
And then the picks you have from that are going to bring in younger guys in the next year. All right, let's pause it there for now, and let's welcome our fan of the night. Please bring in Serene F.A. Serene, come on in.
Hey.
Give it a hand. How are you? Have a seat right here. I'm great. Thank you.
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
Hamilton.
How
joining.
you doing?
Hi.
Hands are cold.
Alvin Williams
Hello.
Nice to
How are you?
and Jevohn Shepherd over there.
That's me.
Here, we want to hold the mic?
Sure.
You got a question for the guys?
Yeah. How do you guys feel about Scotty being the leader of this team moving forward?
Good question. Great question.
I mean, you think about how they've been developing him. It's clear that's the angle they want to take. I'm fine with it. I think he's in a position now where he needs to get as many reps as possible in crucial situations. He's proven that he's a fourth quarter guy. No matter what's happening through three quarters, at the end of the game, he's going to be there. And if you're trying to develop toughness, leadership, being able to handle the moment, the lights aren't too bright, that's Scotty Barnes. So now you're putting a younger core around him. And I think essentially with this move with Pascal, it created the idea of he doesn't have to think about, am I stepping on anybody's toes anymore? You respect Pascal, you know who he is, you think he's a great player, but now that he's not a part of the fold, you can be clear-minded and say, it's about me getting the job done every single night. And to me, that accelerates the growth of a leader.
I think to add to that, with Scotty, he has a couple things that you can't teach and you can't coach. If you talk about his size, his ability to play 5 positions. And to Sherm's point, that being ready and playing under the light in a fourth quarter Scotty, that's something you don't learn. That's innate, right? So I think for him, and the fact that he has the keys now, it's going to be impressive, and I'm excited to see the growth because you look at what he's done, over this summer, improving his three-point shot. There's so much more to his game that he can improve on, become more fluid as a player. But now, not only are you responsible for your own growth, but with the keys in the driver's seat, you're also responsible for getting everybody else better, right? So there's a challenge as a leader, and I think he can manage it.
I was going to say the same thing. My only part of me is hesitant because I think that's something you have to earn. Can't be given that. It's hard for me to just give it to you. I do think he has the qualities and the characteristics, but I do believe that he's going to need support from the coaches, management, and when you're that young and you have to lead, to Jevohn's point, you have to lead a bunch of other young men and older men in that locker room, and you're 22 and you're trying to figure things out yourself, that's a challenge. But I do believe his game speaks for itself. I think he has the right type of game to be a leader. Now emotionally, how mature are you when things aren't going well at home, off the court? Can you still lead this group? So there's other things that come with being a leader and having the keys and being a franchise guy. But I believe, I'm excited for him, and I believe that the Raptors are making the right decision by giving him that opportunity.
Yeah, and I'll say this. The idea of Scotty being a leader on the court and off the court are two different elements. On the court, he needs the reps. He needs the ball in his hands. He needs to be in the moments. He needs to make the decisions, not just for himself, but for his teammates as well. Off the court is where I feel like they've got to continue to surround him with a bit more veteran presence. I think Bruce Brown is going to be potentially one of those guys who can help him, but you need a bit more seasoning around him for the additional things beyond the play that will help him. And if you can get a player in or two that can help him on the court develop as well, that's a veteran that's been in some wars, I think that's going to help him, but only help him. But on the court, he needs all the reps he can get in those moments.
All right, Serene, you ready to spin for a prize and shoot for that prize?
Sure am.
All right, let's do it. Come on over here. Careful, watch the cord. There you go. So just give that spin a good spin. Does that make sense? I don't even know. Just, you know what I'm doing. What do we got there? What are you hoping for? Belt bag, two. You don't need a two. You got one. Hoodie, belt bag. Belt bag's good. All right. It's over here. I'm going to get it, but you got to shoot for it first, okay?
Right.
So just wherever you want. You know, yeah, just shoot it.
I'm small.
Yeah. Get it up there. Oh, no. Sherman's going to rebound. Yeah, try again for sure.
I'm nervous now.
No, you don't need to be there. There it is. Yay! All right, here's your prize. You have shout out to somebody watching at home.
Shout out to my family who's actually in Turkey and all my
Okay.
friends in Toronto. So, yeah, and my boyfriend Gert, who is here for the first time from Chile.
All right, shout out. Nice to meet you. Yeah, a hand for Serene. Thank you very much.
Good job.
All right.
Good job.
All right, let's get into the game, fellas. Raptors had a game today, emotional game after something like that. Is that hard to do? Play after somebody gets traded mid?
Nope.
No?
Not at all, man. Like, it's the business,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of times, if you're behind Pascal or something, you get your opportunity. You're excited. It's a bittersweet moment, but you're excited to move forward with your career. It's the one time that you can be a little selfish and give your all to and take advantage of your opportunity. But the Raptors did a phenomenal job of just coming out, putting all the noise behind them, and just coming out guns blazing and carry this win out.
What impressed you, Jevohn?
Well, everybody just looked a bit more settled, and I think after the big move is made, you come into the locker room for this game, and it's like, okay, I'm not a part of a package. I'm here, right? So you come into it with a different focus. And even talking to RJ before the game, he had gone through something similar to this his first year in New York, right? So he's just like, I'm going through the motions. This is a part of the business, right? Now I'm a bit more focused and going to be a sponge. Just really want to lock in on my craft and what I can contribute to this team. So I think the guys understand, right? This is a part of it, and this is the nature of it. It's been looming over the organization for the last year and a half. Now it's done. Now it's out the way. Let's move forward. And you've seen that first half, they shot the lights out. Even Grady Dick, he got into the action. He got into some action there, made a couple shots, made a couple good passes. So everybody played well, and defensively, Miami typically shoots the three ball well. Mm-hmm. The Raptors did a really good job in that first half of just holding them to, little to nothing from the three-point line.
Sherman, I want to ask about sharing the ball. 23 assists in that first half. Is that a factor of everybody kind of settling into their roles, or?
I mean, I think that there was a bit more freedom in the game.
Yeah.
And that allows for, I think, each player to understand that the best way to be a part of it is to be a part of it,
right,
which is moving the basketball. The first quarter, they had 14 assists on 15 made field goals. Mm-hmm. So, and if you look at how they did it, that ball was moving. It wasn't sticking anywhere, and then it was off the dribble, it was punched into the gap, it was kicked out. And there was one possession where there was multiple dribble penetrations, there was multiple swings. Miami's defense couldn't keep up with it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just reinforcing when you see it happen time and time again, and guys are making shots. Even if the shots didn't go in, the shots were great that they were getting. So the positive reinforcement just kept them moving the basketball, and they've always been a high assist team, but there seemed to be a different kind of energy in this game with the way they move the ball.
But and the thing that's crazy is when you're watching a game and everyone sees the result of the shot going in. And sometimes that impacts the players too, because if the shot's not going in, I'm a little more hesitant to make that pass. Right. And maybe it's my turn. Let me see if I can get us off this snide or whatever the case may be. But I think
I saw that in the third quarter.
Exactly. Yeah. People start going one-on-one and things like that. If I'm the coaching staff, I'm showing that first half.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times coaches will show the negative side of the game. I'm showing that positive side to say, guys, this is against a very, very good defensive team in Miami Heat.
Yeah.
And we were moving the ball around. They weren't deflecting the ball. I think they only had 2 turnovers in the first half.
Yep.
That didn't lead to any points. So it's like, you guys continue doing those things because you don't have the player right now that you can just give the ball to 90% of the times and they're going to make something happen, right? So you got to do it as a team. You got to do it collectively. So I thought they did a good job in that first half and making sure in the second half that becoming part of their identity.
Yeah. Trent Jr., unbelievable tonight. Do you think a game like this can carry over? Does it carry over in the NBA?
Yeah, I don't think it's just the game. I think Gary understands that there's opportunity, right? He's going to get shots now, and it's not, you don't have Scotty and Dennis trying to figure out, I'm getting the ball to Pascal, I'm getting the ball to, all these other guys on the floor. It's, I spot up, I hunt shots, get into those gaps, and I have guys that are willing passers, right? And Gary did a good job of just moving, finding the open spots, knocking down shots. And the thing with Gary is that when he sees the basketball, when he touches the basketball, he's more inclined to play defense, right? He's more inclined to make the extra pass on the offensive and trust that he's going to get it back. He's not a guy that wants to create his own. So sometimes when he doesn't touch it, yes, as a player, you're selfish. You want to get your touch, you want to get your shot off. But today was one of those days the ball was popping, like Sherm said. He got into the gaps, and he trusted that he was going to get it. And it helps that it was a good shooting night. Now, on the nights that you're not knocking it down, you still have to be able to trust it. And that's what we got to see over the course of the rest of the season.
And the defense was great today. You hold a team to 97 points. We haven't seen that in quite some time.
No, you're right. The defense was good. Now, Miami is very comfortable winning games under 100 points.
Yeah.
So that's something they're used to. But credit the Raptors. I mean, a team like Miami can score 97 points in a game when they force you to score 95.
Yeah.
But when you get out the blocks the way the Raptors did, Miami's not usually the team that's going to shoot themselves back into a game.
Yeah.
They're going to do it by twos. We saw in the third quarter,
yeah.
They weren't jacking up threes. They were pounding the paint. I think they scored 20 points in the paint in that quarter alone. So you got to understand who you're playing against, and I think the game plan had to be hit them early, hit them with some quick pace offense, make shots, because if it's a grinded out half-court game, that's right up Miami's alley.
You talked about, speaking of defense in the broadcast, you talked about guys closing out and contesting threes.
You like the flyby.
The flyby. You don't like the flyby. Why has that become so popular?
Because it's first of all, I don't think defense is an emphasis anymore. It's not a point of emphasis as much as it used to be. Teams don't practice as much.
Yeah.
There was a time where offense would catch on later in the season. Defense was like a staple that training camp, 3 weeks you did defense. Right, rotations, double teams, different. So I think now it's
why
one of
you
those
hated
things where
training camps.
you hated it, but
2 a day.
yeah, you hated it. Just strictly defense. But now the flyby is something that's supposed to take away the 3-point shot, which now offensively, you're young, boom, sidestep, I still get a 3-baller.
Yeah.
So what is it for? I think you could be much more disciplined. And it was at times when the Raptors they were more disciplined and they took away some of those shots, but I just hate the flyby.
So
We only got 20 seconds, Ron.
you want the closeouts with the short closeouts when you're putting up 2 hands and chopping your feet?
Yes.
Like
no,
the
but
old
yeah.
school college.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're out there on the perimeter, I'm short closed out, chopping my feet.
All right.
I know you can't shoot. So
I
Wow.
like that.
that's what. Is that where we're at?
that.
It's personnel. You gotta know your
I'm
personnel.
with you, Al.
AYP, know your personnel.
I'm closing up. Shot.
All right, let's stop
Oh,
there.
that's off.
He with us.
Get out there for the Raptors tomorrow night against the Chicago Bulls, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. After the game, come on by Real Sports, be a part of the show. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.